Ever pondered how the ideas of 17th century philosophers shape the political world we live in today? Well, strap in, because we're about to embark on a journey through the mind and works of one such influential figure, John Locke. Born in the year 1632, Locke is considered a luminary in the field of political philosophy and a key figure in the Enlightenment, a period characterized by intellectual and philosophical advancements that fundamentally transformed society. Locke's ideas, revolutionary for their time, have left an indelible mark on modern political thought. He is the architect behind the tenets of liberal democracy, a system of governance that cherishes individual rights and freedom. His works are a testament to the power of human reason and the inherent dignity of individuals, ideals that underpin democratic societies today. The crux of his political philosophy is encapsulated in his most renowned work, Treatises of Government. In it, Locke dismantles the divine right of kings, advocating instead for political power that stems from the consent of the governed. He introduces the concept of natural rights, asserting that all individuals inherently possess the rights to life, liberty, and property. Expanding on this, Locke's theory of the social contract posits that people willingly enter into civil society to protect their natural rights, establishing a government rooted in the rule of law. And if a government fails to uphold these rights or becomes tyrannical, Locke contends, the people have the right to resist, even overthrow it. These ideas, radical and transformative, heavily influenced the architects of the American Constitution. Locke's emphasis on individual rights, the separation of powers, and the right to revolution became integral to constitutional thinking, shaping the democratic societies we know today. In addition to his political philosophy, Locke also made significant contributions to epistemology and advocated for religious tolerance, further cementing his place as a beacon of the Enlightenment. So, as you can see, Locke's influence extends far beyond his time, his ideas continuing to inform contemporary dialogues on governance, human rights, and the relationship between the state and its citizens. Join us as we delve into the life and works of this remarkable thinker, John Locke. Locke's journey of ideas began in 1632, in the small English village of Rington. Born into a Puritan family, his upbringing was steeped in religious teachings and an emphasis on individual conscience. These early experiences would later shape his belief in the inherent rights of individuals and the importance of consent in governance. At the age of 20, Locke enrolled at Christ Church, Oxford, where he studied medicine and philosophy. It was here that he was introduced to the works of René Descartes and Thomas Hobbes, whose ideas on empiricism and social contract theory would significantly influence his own philosophical development. Locke's thinking was also profoundly shaped by the political turmoil of his time, including the English Civil War and the Glorious Revolution. Witnessing these events, he developed a deep skepticism towards absolute power and a strong belief in the right of people to resist tyrannical rule. The seeds planted during these formative years would eventually grow into the philosophy that would change the world. In 1690, Locke penned what would become his most famous work, Treatises of Government. This groundbreaking text was a game-changer for political thought, challenging the very foundations of authority and power. The first treatise was a direct rebuttal to the divine right of kings, a concept that had held sway for centuries. Locke argued against the notion of absolute monarchy, standing firm in his belief that political power isn't a divine gift bestowed upon a chosen few. Instead, he championed the idea that rulers derive their authority from the consent of the governed, flipping the script on centuries of political tradition. In the second treatise, Locke delved into the idea of natural rights. He asserted that everyone is born with inherent rights to life, liberty, and property. These rights, he argued, cannot be taken away by any government or ruler. They are as much a part of us as our very breath, integral to our humanity. Locke's concept of the social contract was revolutionary. He proposed that individuals voluntarily enter into a social agreement to form a civil society. This society, guided by the rule of law, exists to secure and protect the natural rights of its members. But Locke didn't stop there. He boldly asserted that if a government fails in its duty to protect these rights, or worse, acts against the interests of its people, then the people have the right to resist. And if necessary, they have the right to overthrow that government. In essence, Locke was arguing for the power of the people, for their right to rule themselves, and for their right to revolt if their government failed them. These were radical ideas in a time of kings and queens, but they laid the foundation for the democratic societies we know today. Locke's radical ideas challenged the status quo and laid the groundwork for political revolutions. The ripple effects of Locke's ideas extended far beyond his own lifetime. John Locke, an intellectual titan of the 17th century, left a profound impact on the fabric of global society, particularly through his influence on the framers of the American Constitution. His belief in the inherent rights of individuals to life, liberty, and property, as well as the necessity for governments to derive their power from the consent of the governed, were revolutionary concepts. These ideas found their way across the Atlantic, where they became central tenets in the drafting of the American Constitution. The Founding Fathers, deeply influenced by Locke's political philosophy, incorporated his concept of the social contract into their new democratic experiment. They believed, as Locke did, that a government's primary purpose is to protect its citizens' natural rights. And if it fails to do so, the people have the right to resist, and if necessary, overthrow that government. But Locke's legacy extends far beyond the birth of the United States. His ideas served as the bedrock for the development of liberal democracies around the world. His philosophy, with its emphasis on the protection of individual rights and the rule of law, has shaped the structure and function of governments across the globe. Furthermore, Locke's ideas played a crucial role in shaping the Enlightenment, a period of profound intellectual and cultural transformation. His advocacy for reason and empirical evidence challenged the prevailing doctrines of his time, paving the way for a new era of thought. Empiricism, the belief that knowledge comes from experience, became a cornerstone of the Enlightenment, influencing thinkers like David Hume and shaping the course of Western philosophy. Locke's enduring legacy is also evident in contemporary discussions about governance and the relationship between citizens and the state. His ideas continue to inform debates about individual rights, the role of government, and the importance of the rule of law. In an ever-changing world, Locke's philosophy remains as relevant as ever. Locke's emphasis on the protection of individual rights continues to resonate in contemporary discussions about governance and the relationship between citizens and the state. But Locke's intellectual curiosity was not confined to politics. Indeed, his thirst for knowledge led him to delve into the realms of philosophy and religious tolerance, leaving a lasting impact that continues to resonate today. Let's start with his contribution to philosophy. Locke's groundbreaking work, an essay concerning human understanding, was a game-changer in the world of epistemology, the theory of knowledge. In this work, Locke challenged the prevailing idea of the time that knowledge was innate or pre-existing in the mind from birth. Instead, he proposed a radically different approach, empiricism. According to Locke, all knowledge comes from experience, from our interaction with the world around us. This idea was revolutionary, shaking the foundations of philosophical thought and influencing later thinkers like David Hume. It laid the groundwork for the empiricist tradition, a cornerstone of modern philosophy. But Locke didn't stop there. His intellectual pursuits also led him to advocate for religious tolerance, a concept that was far from universally accepted in the 17th century. In his letter concerning toleration, Locke argued for the separation of church and state, a concept we take for granted today but was revolutionary in his time. He believed that the state had no right to impose religious beliefs on its citizens, and that every individual should have the freedom to practice their religion without fear of persecution. In essence, Locke's work in philosophy and religious tolerance was as significant as his contributions to political theory. His ideas challenged the status quo, sparked debate, and laid the groundwork for the evolution of modern society. So, while we often remember Locke as a political thinker, let's not forget his equally crucial contributions to philosophy and religious tolerance. Locke's impact extends beyond political theory, influencing our understanding of knowledge and advocating for religious freedom. His legacy is a testament to the power of ideas to change the world. John Locke's legacy is the cornerstone of our modern political landscape. His revolutionary ideas, born in the crucible of the 17th century, continue to echo in the halls of power, in classrooms, and in the hearts of those who believe in the power of the individual. Locke's emphasis on the protection of natural rights laid the groundwork for liberal democracies, and his concept of the separation of powers and the right to revolution remain integral components of constitutional thinking, even today. His thought-provoking ideas continue to inspire and challenge us, pushing us to question the nature of authority and the role of the individual in society. Moreover, his contributions to philosophy and religious tolerance resonate in our contemporary discussions about governance, human rights, and the relationship between citizens and the state. The ideas of this 17th century philosopher continue to shape our world, reminding us of the power of critical thinking and the pursuit of knowledge.